Greetings, this is the Instrument Sidekick video for the trumpet, page 18. Two more notes. Page 18, two more notes. There's a whole lot of info here, all right? So, underneath two more notes, it mentions that these notes are higher than the last ones. So, E, D, and C were lower notes than these two. So, you're going to have more of an E embouchure, more of the tighter sound, all right? Over here, we talk about white belt. Now, I keep track of everybody's levels using a belt system similar to martial arts, okay? So, white belt is the first, and this page also has stuff about yellow belt here. So white belt involves being able to play 5 notes from memory without needing to look them up right away for me. So the tests, all tests are during our meetings, okay? You can't do a test any other time, okay? Only during the meetings. And what happens is you watch this video, you practice this stuff, and then in our next meeting, you test for it. Worst case scenario, if you fail the test, the next lesson, you take it again, okay? You can take that test every lesson all year long until you get it right. Now, you're allowed to make mistakes in the test, but you need to fix those mistakes without me needing to tell you. So if you go to play a note and you play the wrong note, you say, oops, sorry, that was this note, and then play the right note. That's totally fine. To me, that's kind of like if you're doing a math test and you wrote a 4 when you meant to write a 5, and you erase it and put the 5 before you handed the test, right? So same thing, if you're playing something for me, if I tell you to play an F and you play an E, you can be like, oh, sorry, that was an E, and then play the F, and you're fine, okay? So that's the white belt test will be being able to play 5 notes. And then over here it mentions the yellow belt test. The yellow belt test is me checking off that you can play all 3 of those songs. So I need to hear them in our class time for you to get your yellow belt, okay? So that's the next level up from white. So first we got to learn the 2 more notes that you need to know and memorize for white belt, okay? So let's talk about those. We have G and F. G is the second line from the bottom. So remember, E was the first line and C was a ledger line below. So G is now 1 line up. A lot of people get confused with G and E, okay, because they're both on lines on the staff, okay? So make sure you know the difference. All right, F is on the lowest space on the staff. Okay, so see how there isn't a line going through that note? It's in between lines, so it's on a space. So it's on the lowest space, so that is an F. Okay, so you have G and F. Now, F is easy enough as long as you have a first finger down and you play a higher note than you did with the E's, E, D, and C, then you're probably going to be good. G is a little harder because you'll see it's 0 fingers, or it's open, in other words. But you know what other note was? C. C is open and G is open. So you've reached your first note where the change of the notes needs to be done completely with the embouchure and not with fingerings. Okay, so I'm going to play these notes for you so you can listen to how they sound. And you've got to be able to actually play these for your white belt test. Okay, so here is what a G sounds like. Okay, that's a G. Now, if you go to the white belt test and I say play a G and you do this. Now, I'll pause. I will wait to see if you know that you played a C by mistake. Okay, so if you know what you're doing and you go, oh, sorry, that was a C. Let me play a G. Okay, so you can know you made the mistake and fix it by doing the embouchure things and the air things that you need to do to raise up the sound. Now, I'll pause. If you don't know that you played the wrong note and you don't know that your embouchure was wrong for the G and you played a C instead, then you fail the test, okay? So this is the main part of the test, is really knowing the difference between your G and C. The other ones are not quite as hard, although you can still make the same embouchure mistakes, but these are pretty hard. So this is G, and this is C. Okay, so you got to be able to control that, and that's going to take a lot of practice. All right, now here's an F. F is the same, almost exactly the same embouchure as the G, but now you have just your first finger down. So G, F, E, D, and C. C, D, E, F, G, and G, F, E, D, C. Okay, so we've got all 5 of those notes, and I'm going to throw them out to you in a different patterns to see if you can get your white belt. Then yellow belt is being able to play these 3 songs. All right, now we'll talk more about what the practice check stuff means underneath on the next page. For right now, I will play Jingle Bells for you. I can tell you that usually the issues that people have with Jingle Bells is the leap from the G to the C. So in the 3rd line, you have to go. Okay, you have to go bum bum and make that difference. And then the other issue is there's 4th line down. You see there's a bunch of F's and E's, and they often do the wrong number of F's and E's. And that doesn't pass the song either. You actually have to play the right number of those notes. Like if you have 10 of those notes, you got to play 10 of those notes. If you have 3 of the notes, you got to play 3 of the notes. All right, you got to pay attention to that. That is important musically. So, Jingle Bells. I will play Jingle Bells for you. We are at 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Here is Jingle Bells. Okay, so that is Jingle Bells. All right, now for Good King Wenceslas. That is pronounced Wenceslas. Wenceslas, okay. Good King Wenceslas sounds like this. Okay, and lastly, dreidel dreidel. Now, dreidel dreidel, the main mistake that happens here, all right, is people often forget this note here at the end of the line. So they'll go G, E, G, E, G, E, and then they'll skip right to the next 2 G's and forget about that E. Okay, so you have G, E, G, E, G, E, E, G, G, F, E, D, D, F, D, F, D, F, D, D, G, F, E, D, C, and then you have a repeat. Okay, so repeat, hopefully you've learned from your general music classes, repeat means you got to do the whole thing another time. Okay, always just a second time. Don't have to do any more than that, all right? So just a second time, you got to go through. So when you're testing, you do have to do the repeat. Don't think that because you got it right once, that's good enough. If you've only played it once through and you miss a repeat, then you only get a 50% on that test, okay? Because you've only done half the song, all right? So a lot of these, you can still pass for yellow belt. You can still pass these songs with a couple mistakes here and there, okay? Just like you can hand in a math test and get a couple of the problems wrong and still pass the test, all right? Same thing with music. You can get a few notes wrong here and there. That's okay. But if you miss half the song, that's a whole nother story. So don't forget that repeat. That's very important, all right? So dreidel, dreidel. And there you go. So practice that stuff a lot. Still do the mouthpiece work. Still do the play Hot Cross Buns, Mary to Little Lamb, and Claire de la Lune. Do all those still once a day, and that should take only like 5 minutes. All right, and then you can spend the rest of your practice time really working on these songs. Okay, my goal is that we play these songs, if not in a concert, then in some way for your family. We do some kind of concert thing involving these songs, okay, for the holidays. So please practice, practice, practice these songs. If we have a regular concert, these songs will be in it. If we don't, these songs are still going to need to be played in some way, giving you some sense of performance. We'll figure that out as the time comes. All right? So practice, 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 and may the force be with you.